Well, Chris, we are back to talk more Cobra Kai. This time, Season 4 predictions, as we both love the show so much. And I know that you had a lot of things that you wanted to talk about, specifically relating to Karate Kid 3. Mm-hmm. So let's just get right into it.
Dave, I mean, we went to war with John Kreese. We met his Vietnam buddies, including Terry Silver, who, as Karate Kid fans know, we touched on it in the other video. Terry Silver is the man who essentially saved Kreese and Cobra Kai in Karate Kid 3. And it looks like with that phone call at the end of the season, he's going to do it again in Season 4. And I cannot... For those who don't remember Karate Kid 3, which they shouldn't because it's not a good movie, Terry Silver at that time had become a wealthy businessman. So he was able to pour a bunch of money into Cobra Kai, get them like a really great fighter. Like it's all done kind of perfectly. So like if he still is at that status now and he can bring that into this new version of Cobra Kai going up against this new version of Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang. Oh man, I can't wait to see what they come up with for it.
Speaking of this new rivalry, I think we both agree that there's definitely the tournament's going to be next season, the big tournament.
Oh, for sure.
With that though, the training with Johnny and Daniel now combining forces for Eagle Fang meets Miyagi-Do.
Eagle-Do, Miyagi Fang.
Yeah, Miyagi Fang.
I like Miyagi Fang. It's just a picture of Pat Morita with teeth with like fangs.
It's amazing. I have to assume, and I think you have to assume that there's going to be scenes of them 100% butting heads in their training methods. So I was thinking as Johnny does, there's a scene where Daniel's doing his like peaceful meditation style thing where it looks kind of lame, and Johnny's just like, "Oh, that's for pussies," as he would say. That's a training method for pussies, and then he's gonna get pissed off and then take them on some like insane excursion like the cement truck thing, and that'll piss Daniel off. So I think it'll be like that back and forth of Johnny taking it too far, and then like the slow, almost like not yoga, was meditational aspect of Miyagi-Do.
Very zen.
Yeah, that's gonna piss off Johnny. So it'll probably be a lot of fun back and forth with that.
Well, and it also goes back to, honestly, the first season of Cobra Kai when Johnny first starts training Miguel. As we all know, Miyagi-Do and Mr. Miyagi in teaching Daniel taught him via doing essentially chores.
Yeah.
Show me wax on, wax off. Yes! Yes!
And then we cut to Johnny training Miguel. He's making Miguel clean up the karate dojo, and he's like, "Sensei, is there a certain way I should be washing this window?"
Yeah.
And Johnny's like, "Nah, I don't give a Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter."
It's such a great scene.
So they're so very different in their approach to this that I can't wait to see exactly what that's gonna be like, because they're not friends.
Yeah.
They're just no longer enemies.
I this would be my guess based off of... I took karate for about 10, 15 years, something like that, and I had different instructors, and they had different ways of teaching, so I have to... My assumption would be that maybe they come to the agreement of like, okay, Tuesday, Thursday is Miyagi-Do day, Monday, Wednesday is Eagle Fang day, where they do their own different things, and then that way students get a little bit of each. Or maybe they find a balance.
See, I think that would be interesting, but I want to see them have to teach together and bounce off of each other.
Yeah.
And also maybe learn some things from each other. Like, Miyagi-Do, yes, is the good version of karate in that world. But like, that doesn't mean there aren't things that Daniel can learn from Johnny, and vice versa. There are things that Johnny could learn from Daniel. Like, maybe we don't have to be so quick to rage all the time.
It was funny because there's a scene in Season 3 where Kreese was teaching them to be smart about how to fight.
Not bad.
And I was watching it, I was like, in any other context, this would be a really good lesson, other than Kreese being evil about it. It's like
that was kicking the tree off the post, right?
Yeah. I was like, that actually isn't a bad lesson. It was just taught in an evil way.
that is 100% something I would expect of Daniel to teach a version of that in his backyard. Like, that 100% made sense to me. And of course, Hawk, the only thinker that's left in that group of Cobra Kai students at the time, is the one who figured it out.
Yeah. Oh, so speaking of Hawk, there's a theory that I found on Reddit from reality writer 00, who thinks that Cobra Kai is essentially going to go, like, they're going to snap back on Hawk because he betrayed them. Like, Hawk's the main traitor now to Cobra Kai in the final scene, so he thinks that they're going to come back and possibly cripple, or at least try to cripple Hawk.
Given that Cobra Kai is made up of Hawk's old bullies now,
yeah,
it's all the dudes who used to beat him up in high school are now in his old dojo. I could see that being a concern. However, my counter to that is, like, Hawk weirdly might be the best at karate in that group. Like, he's yes, he had that one moment where Dimitri kicked him through a trophy case during the karate riot. But I feel like Hawk became a much better martial artist than anybody could have expected.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I hope it doesn't. I just don't want him to get crippled. I love him too much.
And
just
I know,
give his mohawk a new color or something.
And I didn't know this, but something you told me. Apparently, the actor himself is the one who has gotten the best at martial arts.
Yes.
So to me, it's like, why would you want to waste that potential where you have the person who could probably do the best fight scenes and best stunts, and then now he's ripped off because he's crippled? Yeah. It seems like something that you wouldn't want to pull. But it was an interesting theory, and a lot of people seem to like that theory, so I thought it'd be good to bring up.
And also, it's not as if the show is afraid of crippling children.
No.
Like, it's already done that. So, like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I seriously hope it doesn't. If only because I like to see Jacob Bertrand is the name of the actor. I love to see him in those fight scenes because he's so good.
Yeah. Let's move on to something else. I want to see if you have any thoughts on this. So, outside of just the karate, there's also the soap opera-y love of the show. And
yeah, there is.
We had Dimitri and Yasmin coming together in the last season, and Hawk striking out with the ladies. Still with Hawk. Now that he's with Miyagi-Do, like, how do you think these love triangles are going to play out, or do you have any thoughts on this aspect of the show?
I think for me, I think Hawk moving away from Cobra Kai toward Eagle Fang / Miyagi-Do. I think him moving away from Cobra Kai will get his ego in check, which is the problem that was making him strike out so hard with everyone, because he became so full of himself, especially in the first half of season 3. Like, he was an out of control ego monster because he was the quote unquote star student of Cobra Kai.
Yep.
But meanwhile, while that's happening, he's alienating everyone around him, and this is coming on the heels of being horribly embarrassed in front of everyone by Dimitri for revealing that he peed his pants and then getting kicked through a trophy case.
Yeah.
Like that's a 1-2 punch of high school humiliation that is hard to overcome, but he's so on the right track now in terms of, like, getting back his friend Dimitri, sort of seeing the light that Cobra Kai is probably bad for him. So I'm hopeful.
You have to wonder how strained some of those relationships are going to be throughout the beginning of this season, too.
Yeah.
With, Hawk broke Dimitri's arm, so I don't know if he's going to let it go and let it slide. They did hug at the end of season 3, so maybe it is all resolved.
I'm hopeful.
This isn't a prediction, but I hope that Dimitri and Yasmin's cheerleader and like the classic nerd gang, the cheerleader love thing. It's cute. I hope that stays strong and keeps on going.
So that's incredibly cliche, and yet I did not expect it at all. Like, after it happened, I was like, oh, of course this is what they're doing. Yeah. This is what happens in these stories, but I wasn't expecting it at all. And it really, you'll love to see it.
So let's talk about Robbie. So, because Robbie's really turned to the dark side at this point. Mm-hmm. So, here's my thought on Robbie. is that I think he will eventually realize the error of his ways, but because we already know that they're planning on doing a season 5, my guess would be that season 4 is going to end with the karate tournament, and it's probably going to be Robbie versus Miguel again, would be my guess.
The complete inverse of season 1, where now Miguel is repping Miyagi-Do / Eagle Fang, and Robbie's Team Cobra Kai.
And there's going to be a whole thing where, similar to how Sam had to get over getting clawed by Tory, Miguel's going to have to get over the fact that he was literally crippled by Robbie. And I'm getting a little off track here, but I guess with the tournament, I have a feeling that he's going to want to turn to the dark side, and that's where the Miyagi-Do teachings are going to help him, as opposed to just the Cobra Kai stuff, so he doesn't do something really bad to Robbie in the end. But I think that's going to be the end of season 4. So my guess is that season 5 is going to be the season where Robbie finally starts to accept Johnny as a father, which I think is something that a lot of fans, at least that I want to see, is them finally figuring each other out and ending the misunderstanding. I think that's going to be a season 5 thing. That would be my guess. Alternatively, maybe he becomes the new Kreese, but
now we're talking. This is where it gets difficult, because we know that they want to keep the show going, so I don't know what season 5 looks like, because, yes, as much as it'd be fun to have a story of, Robbie and Johnny reconciling, that's not necessarily a compelling season of Cobra Kai. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it would be, but, if I had to guess, obviously, I think we can all realize we're getting a tournament as the climax of season 4.
Yeah. Why don't we settle this the old-fashioned way? Tournament.
I'm gonna guess that it's gonna come down to Robbie and Miguel, and it's gonna be sort of a take on what happened at the end of season 2, where Miguel sees that Robbie is in a bad way and shows him that mercy that he showed him in season 2. This time Robbie isn't going to throw him off of a stairwell. It'll sort of be the beginning. It'll be Robbie's sort of chance to see the error of his ways.
Yeah.
And then it can just turn into Robbie oh my god, dude. Season 5 could be Robbie splits Cobra Kai for Miyagi-Do, and then season 5 is just the Karate War to end Karate Wars, where it's Kreese and all of his high school bullies versus all the nerds at Miyagi-Do. Just having it out at the parking lot of Disneyland or something. I mean, listen, the show's shooting in LA. I understand that Sony is not a Disney company, but how great would it be if they get clearance to shoot a karate ride at Disneyland? Who wouldn't love that?
If they can't get Disneyland, there's always Busch Gardens here, or Six Flags, or Universal.
Knott's Berry Farm, baby.
Or Knott's Berry. Yeah, insert
just
other...
In fact, I'm now pro Knott's Berry Farm happening at, because there's an old West town, so they got an old West karate fight.
All right, what do you think? We talked about we talked about Miguel and Robbie. What do you think about the other big rivalry this season, Tory and Sam?
So I actually just wrote a story about this that you can see on GameSpot.com. For my money, Tory and Sam are the new Daniel and Johnny. They are bitter rivals. I don't see... I think after season 2 and what happened to Miguel, I think there could have been an opportunity to do some work to sort of turn Tory around. But instead, the show made what honestly I think is the more interesting choice, and leaned harder into her being in Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
They took that character even deeper into that world. And now now that Miguel isn't in Cobra Kai, Hawk isn't in Cobra Kai, I think she's the star student.
Yeah.
She is Kreese's number 1. And Kreese's number 1, as we all know, Johnny Lawrence. So I think it plays into it really well. That is a feud I do not think will be settled by the end of the show. And I don't think it should be. Honestly, we got Johnny and Daniel were quote unquote enemies for 30 years. And I know we want to say in different circumstances, it was over some high school nonsense.
Yep.
High school nonsense caused them to hate each other for 3 decades. Like, and so I'm not mad at that prototype of just kind of rolling with that. But something that I thought was actually very interesting. I talked to Mary Master, who plays Sam, and her idea was like, have them come together to fight a greater evil and then immediately be back at each other's throats. I was like, I can get behind that.
My dream moment is some other enemies come in and Tory and Sam have to team up for like a brief moment to take them out. And then immediately after, they're like, but screw you and see you later.
I guess that could be a season 5 kind of thing, you know, where maybe there is some greater evil that they come together for a second, but then it ends with them still like glaring, and that's like end of season 5.
Fighting over boys.
Yeah. Some boys. Something that I thought, like, I wonder what your thoughts are, is I wonder, do you think there's a possibility that Aisha might return? Because I was thinking that the main reason that they didn't include her in season 3 was because it's hard to see her go along with an evil Cobra Kai. But now that that plot is over and all of her friends are in a good place, it opens up a place where they can bring her back. The only thing that makes it a little difficult is that the whole reasoning was that her parents moved away and sold their house.
You didn't hear? After the fight, her parents moved her to a private school. They even put their house up for sale.
So it's like, you have to kind of like say like, oh,
what a weird...
they moved back for some reason. I mean, like, I get it. You know, this like, oh, this horrible thing happened. We're going to take her to a better school. It's not that they blame her for it, right? It's just that they were like, a horrible thing happened. We have to take her out of this school and get her to a better, safer school. So they just, you know, they're just trying to be good parents and take her to a safer school by their minds. But
they just quickly wrote her out of the season and just dropped literally one line of dialogue in to explain it all away.
Yep. But I do wonder now that my thoughts on why they took her out, if maybe they could bring her back at this point.
I hope so. Even if just for a quick guest appearance,
Yep.
I'd really like to see something. I'd like to see something to properly wrap up that character and that character's story, because that character was an important part of the show, and was close to very close to people on both sides. I mean, they're all over on one side now, but like, I truly hope we get something.
I mean, hey, they brought back Yasmin and they brought back Kyler.
That's true.
So, you know, I think there is precedent that they actually would do that again.
There's one thing that I really want to happen.
Yeah.
The creators have said it time and again. I've talked to them about it. Mm-hmm. Anything in what they call the Miyagi-verse is fair game. The Miyagi-verse is anything that had Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi, which I think technically means the Karate Kid animated series, but I have to believe they're not going to do anything from that very weird, very bad
So basically,
show.
all they're discluding is the Jackie Chan.
Yeah, they're like the only thing that
one.
doesn't count is Jaden Smith, which
okay.
is why put Jaden Smith in the background. Cobra Kai, you can do this. But no, so that means the next Karate Kid is a part of this universe. So that means Hilary Swank's character in the next Karate Kid, who was being launched as sort of the female Daniel, she exists in this. Bring her back. We got Ali back. We got the original Cobra Kai kids back. We got Kumiko back. We got Chosen back. Like we're getting. It sounds like we're getting Terry Silverback. It sounds like we're getting Terry Silverback. Like there's so many people. We got Daniel's mom back, for crying out loud. There's so many people you could bring in from the franchise and layer them into the story. But I honestly think Hilary Swank's character from the next Karate Kid is the most interesting one, because she could bring insight to the teachings of Mr. Miyagi that even Daniel might not have, because Daniel wasn't around when he taught her character. However, I also think it'd be interesting if she opened up a rival dojo.
Yeah.
And that's what season 5 was. It's Cobra Kai versus Miyagi Fang versus Hilary Swank's dojo of awesomeness.
And that's your like super evil one that everyone has to come against together. Yeah. There it is.
And that's how Cobra Kai and Miyagi Fang joined forces to take on Hilary Swank.
It's also, to me, I don't know where you go after the tournaments, really, other than what I said with the reconciliation of Robbie and Johnny. outside of that, like this
yeah.
does create some kind of tension that you can bring in.
And that's the thing. The creators want to keep going. I want them to keep going. Like, I want this show to keep going, but I don't know what it is after the final tournament showdown, in which this is my big theory for next season. They're finally going to use You're the Best Around. It's gonna happen.
I hope so. I really hope so.
They've waited so long. We got Cruel Summer, for crying out. We got 2 versions of Cruel Summer last season. It's time for You're the Best Around. I know they've had that in their back pocket. They're just waiting for the moment. This is it. But yeah, it'll be... I don't know what season 5 would look like.
I know what it looks like. I figured it out.
What's up?
I've done the math. I did the computer hacker thing.
Okay.
I figured it out.
Wow, I didn't even see you move.
Yeah, I was that quick.
That's pretty good.
Johnny Lawrence is going to open up a rival car salesman shop. Rival car shop. And then
Johnny's Motors?
Yeah, Johnny's Motors. Where all he sells is cool, badass cars.
He only sells like Mustangs and Camaros from
That's
the
it.
80s.
Yep.
That's it.
So those were all of our predictions for season 4. But if you have anything that we missed, anything that you think that we should look into, definitely let us know. We'd love to hear your guys' theories. And man, I cannot wait for season 4. Once again, you can find me on Twitter at @TheDaveKlein.
And you can find me on Twitter. I am at Chris Hayner.
And we will see you guys next time. Later, guys. Eagle Fang.
Hiya! I'm doing it again. Eagle Fang.